Hello, my name is Voya and welcome to my deep guide, and in today's video we are checking out the update 3.24 for the Supernote Manta and a Nomad platform. This is a very important and meaningful update and an incredibly interesting update to come out from Rata. It's a full-on Rata signature type of an update that is not something that you would expect. But when you actually start using it and you see it, it's just mwah, so nicely thought of, designed, implemented, and it makes so much sense, and again transforms this already super powerful platform into an even more powerful and all-encompassing platform. So do stick around even if you're not a Supernote user, because you may find what this platform offers enticing and or interesting. But before we continue with the video, if you do appreciate the work that I do on my deep guide channel, my deep guide channel needs your help, because the AI in charge of the recommendation and sorting and basically directing the YouTube algorithm that's been placed into action in 2025 has made it so that for whatever reason it is actually burying the content of my deep guide, so much so that if you actually go into an incognito window and you type Supernote in YouTube search, you will have to scroll through dozens, literally dozens of videos before you even come into one of my deep guide videos as a search result, let alone as a recommendation. And I've gotten reports from subscribers that they are no longer even getting a notification when a new video does come out, even though they are subscribed. I am doing an investigation into all of this to understand what is going on, and I think that I do. And it's simply because I'm not creating ad infinitum, regurgitating the best of lists and the worst of, or shocking and all that kind of stuff, that the algorithm is simply, disregarding videos that do not have a shocking or a clickbait title in it. So how can you help? Well, you can help by reposting the video, by talking about the video, mentioning it in Reddit, mentioning it in a post, and basically just reposting the video and clicking it and watching it in the background. And that should help the AI overlord that decided that my deep guide should be killed, shot in the head, buried, and, I don't know, throw some lye on top of it just to dissolve it very quickly. Maybe it should give it a hint that there are people who do enjoy the non-clickbaity type of content, fact-based type of reporting, and independent type of reporting for this niche type of tech field. That type of help would be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. And now onwards with the video. And here's the list of updates, improvements and fixes and new functionalities for the update version 3.24. Now we're going to be mainly focusing on the added functionalities, but also there's some interesting stuff in the adjusted and optimized and fixed sections. We got two new really big functionalities which are fairly meaningful in the context of the mind flow and the workflow of a Supernote tablet and a Supernote notebook document. We have the finally functionality of adding a text box feature, fairly complete type of feature set for the text box. And then the second one is that they've kind of optimized and revamped how the digest feature works. And we also have an introduction of the clipboard feature, which is, I guess, shared between system-wide, but it works only for text content, not for handwriting or not for strokes, not for vectors. And as such, that means that you can now select and copy text from PDF, EPUBs, and documents, and then paste it into a text box, into a notebook, or into a digest, for example. So let's go over these two most important functionalities and see how they actually work and perform in real world. So I'm going to create a regular notebook, and I'm going to use one of my own My Deep Guide curated templates that you can find on mydeepguide.com/shop. And I'm going to use the 311p, so that's for Supernote Manta, portrait line wide. And there we go. Now I have my nice template here with 8mm spacing. If we go to a text box, we can insert a digest or add a new text box. So let's add a new text box first. And now you have this kind of feature, and by itself, it doesn't seem like much, but you do have this upper handle that you can use to move it around. Then you have side handles that you can use to resize it, to position it where you want it. Now the point here is that resizing these handles should allow for auto wrapping of the text. And you also have the system font, font size, bold, italic, and formatting of the text itself, or justification. So let's start typing something simple here. This is my typing test in the... That's a mistake. And you can see that this is like, oh, not really working. This is not my vibe. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to hook up a hardware keyboard to make this section a little bit easier and also to test it as well. All right, I got my keys to go paired with the Manta. It's actually a double tap on the text box to start editing it again. So you got to double tap and then get into the cursor mode so that you can start typing. Okay, so this is my typing test for the text box. That's me making the problem. See how far it's going to fill in and what it's going to do. Is it intelligent to actually understand to go into the second row? If it is intelligent enough, yeah, okay, so it understands the lines. New line functionality also works well. Let's see how is the selection. Selection works normally. With just shift and arrows, it selects normally. Control and shift selects all words. And now I should be able to kind of go like this and go Control B for bold. That doesn't work. Control I for italic, doesn't work. Shift I, nope. Control Z works for undo. Let's see if copy paste works. So we're gonna go Control C, Control V. Yep, that works. So we can undo. Let's see if it's redo is Control Shift Z, so that works as well. Majority of things seems to be working, except that Control B and Control I isn't working for the bold and italics. Does Control A work? Yes, it does. That's kind of cool, because the next thing that I want to test is justification. So yep, justification left, center, right, or left. And can I just bolden this? No. Let's change the font. Let's see if this is system-wide as well. Oh yeah, this is whole. So all of the formatting is per text box. Let's see if we have different types of fonts here. So I think that this is going to be very nice for a lot of people to actually have this type of handwritten fonts, and also have the ability to add your own fonts to the system and use them there. And I also have a very, very, very old tutorial which you can use to create your own font from your own handwriting and then kind of use it in this feature, which is, yeah, a pretty cool thing to see. Let's see the resizing. How intelligent is it? Yep, that's kind of cool. But what happens now when I continue writing? Because last time it was expanding. Okay, that's pretty cool. Can you just do a selection here and then kind of move it around? Yeah, you can. Editing, double tap, and now I'm in the whole text box option, and then I can just position it where I want it to. Now the cool thing is then I can just kind of reformat and say like, hey, I want you to go a little bit further here, and it just kind of rearranges itself. Would I be able to easily add this to a new layer? So I would like these two. I should be able to cut this, go to my new layer, and then just go into my select tool and paste. Heading, links, and text cannot be pasted into non-main layers. That kind of sucks. Can I cheat, however? Can I trick it? Can I move the main layer up? I can. What does it do then? There you go. That's a workaround. So yes, text boxes are limited to the main layer only, but that doesn't mean that they are limited to the bottom layer only. This is, yeah, we're gonna go here. This is another typing test. And as you can see, I'm able to type in here, and I am actually able to create what I wanted to, because now I can go on to layer 1, stickers, select a sticker here, and then I can go to the main layer, double tap the text box that I want to work with, move it somewhere around here, and constrain it to the size of this thought bubble, right? So like this. So my intention was to fill in the, this speech bubble here. But here we have a bit of a lack of tools, because if I use a highlighter, I'm gonna still see the lines, but I can just kind of scribble it in like this. You can see that it's not really correctly filling in, but you do have to do a refresh, and then it's gonna layer them correctly. So technically speaking, yes, it's clumsy, but you do have the ability to layer the text content. You just have to be aware of that. It has to be on the main layer, and then you just adjust the positioning and layering of the layers themselves. All right, so let's test a few new features that they have. I'm going to use a text selection tool in a document, and I'm going to make this selection here, and I can automatically create it as a digest, but I also can use copy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this, and now I'm going to go to the last opened notebook, go back here, and I should be able to paste that text if I'm on the correct layer here. Well, actually, let's test the switching if it works correctly. So I can paste text, yes, switch to the main layer, and there we go. And that's the text from that book. And then I can change this to be a system font of a smaller size, resize it the way I want it to, and there we go. We can add it there. Let's do this, for example. That's my selection. Let's create a digest from that. And then we're gonna go around here, create some more digests like this, something like this, and then we go. So now I have a few digests, and I would like to organize them. So let's go into the digest. So this gives you an overall overview of the digest. But if you go here to this nested type of a view, this is your categorization and organization of digests. And we have all and uncategorized. And let's just go a new one, and we're going to call it research, with a capital R as well, research. There we go. So we have a new one, and I'm going to add another one, which is going to be called other, for example. There we go. And now I'm going to go into all, and I'm going to select this one and this one to go move into research. Good. And then what are the remaining uncategorized ones? Well, this one and this one are going to go into other. And now I have no uncategorized ones, and I have other, and I have research with everything sorted properly. Well, another thing that you've probably noticed is that we have the option to actually select these and export. So what you can do is you can just go here, select all that you want, either all of the digests that you have or all of the digests that you have in a specific category, and then you can go export, and it will export it as a text file or a PDF. Now, the text file is important here because that means that you can actually create a backup of your digests, and then later on you can do an import of that backup. So I want to test it out, but at the very end, in the case that it doesn't really quite work, because it will require me to delete these and then re-import them and see like that. So hopefully I remember to do that. But for now, this time I want to add a text box, but I want to insert a digest. And there we go. We have all uncategorized, others, or research. And you can also enter text from digest. So for example, if I'm using all of these and I'm looking for magma, right? And then I do a search, it will narrow it down to these here. And then I can just see like, okay, so which one was it? Okay, let's go in research, and it's only the one from the research. And then I can also link the source. So if I insert this, and let's go like somewhere around here, I can't rescale it. Okay, so let's put it down here so it doesn't interfere with other stuff. And then I have automatically a link that I can use to go here, and you can use the breadcrumb trail to go back to your notebook. Incredibly powerful way of actually further integrating the content and the workflow on the Supernote as a platform. This is a really, really good way of adding these things. And I'm impressed with just how effortless it feels, the final delivery here for the user as a user experience. That type of stuff requires a lot of work, a lot of iterations, a lot of mistakes, and a lot of attention to detail for a user to be able to simply jump in and just use it without a user manual, tutorial, or anything like that. That is truly impressive to see that level of refinement of user interface and user experience for it to just work out of the box that seamlessly. Very, very nice. All right, the next thing is we need to test out the lasso selection handwriting recognition. So it should be able to, like that. All right, so let's select like this. Yes, select it. And now we go here and says text box recognize as text. There we go. Okay, what I'm actually really interested in is that there's a feature that you can actually convert the selection OCR selection into a digest. And that means that you can actually now start adding digests from notebooks as well, and then interconnect that way, which is awesomeness. So we're just gonna do this, go here, recognize as digest. So it does an OCR, there we go. And can this be recognized and sorted as a digest? Well, I want to kind of format you a little bit differently, and I'm just using my keyboard off the frame here just to kind of do that. And let's do a categorization. Yes, this is great, but a little plus sign to add and create a category while you're here would have been great, because in this case, I wanted to add a new category of handwritten digests, right? So that would be a cool thing to have. But for now, I can just add it to uncategorized and author, Smrda Pradic, which is in Serbian and roughly translates to smelly farty. And smelly farty had an enormous career, like a tennis god, golfing, racing, adventures, saving princesses, all of these kinds of things, like an impressive individual all around, despite the name. So this is a digest, it's underlined. What happens if I double tap it? I can adjust it, okay. But is it underlined because it's a link? So if I tap, it takes me directly to that digest. That is so nicely interwoven, and this builds this really powerful and strong web of interdependencies. This is becoming a system now, which is very, very impressive. So let's go handwriting digests as a category, and now I can go into the uncategorized, which was this one, and move it to the handwriting, and then I'm done. And let's say I want to create a new digest, so I can rename my digest and I can delete them, organize them there, or I can create a new one. There we go. And that is a quote by Smrda Pradic. Oh no, we need to use the correct one here. So wait a second. There we go. And we gotta give it 2025. There, that's good. So we got that one. We're gonna create it. and this is in other. So now, I'm sorry, I'm having way too much fun with this. Now I can go in here, inserting digest from other, and that's going to be the Smrda Pradic manual entry, and it's going to be positioned right around here. All right, that's really impressive and very, very powerful, because there's so many dependencies. There were so many areas where all of this functionality could have stumbled and become problematic and all of that kind of stuff. But no, it just went smooth like butter from one to another, completely jumping throughout the whole thing. And it's very, very impressive. So I'm just going to go through the list and see if I haven't, what have I not covered, because I try to kind of do an organic type of exploration of these features, because they are fully interconnected, and also to show you like how it works and hopefully, yeah, give you some inspiration as well. It also has the search. So let's go like exploring, and we do search. Yes, it should be in global search as well. So that should mean that if I go down here into search and say magma in all formats, oops, sorry, we gotta go here, magma in all formats, it should find the, this, okay. So you gotta go text and then exploring. And now it's gonna find a lot. Okay, so that's what it found. And now before I move on, I want to do the test of the digests to export them, delete them, all of them, and then re-import them to see how that actually works. So let's go select all, and I'm just gonna export as a text file. And I'm gonna export it to Supernote, export all text. Okay, that's alrighty. And now I'm going to also select all and export as a PDF, just so that we can see what type of exporting it does to check it out. But the main test here is going to be, can it work as a backup? Because now I'm just going to delete all the digests, and now all of my hard work is gone. It's like, no. I'm going to go import, export, and all text, and I'm going to go import. There we go, it's importing, but it does not import to categories, and it doesn't export categories. I don't see a way to export the categories themselves. So while you can import the digests, they will lose the categorization, which makes it halfway done. Because part of all of the hard work is actually the categorization, and I wish that I hadn't done that. And if I had like a much bigger organization, I would be pretty pissed off at this moment here if I had done a backup, thinking that I would be able to restore all of it, and it doesn't. The way that I think that this should function is that the category is stored as a special string instruction or something that's read by the importer for each of the digests. And then upon the import, it looks for that string, looks for the command, and then checks, hey, do I have a category already existing? If I do, I will sort it into that category. If I do not have that category already, I will automatically create it and then sort the digest into that category. That would be a more complete solution for the export and import functionality of the digest categorization and the digests themselves. All right, now let's see how does it export it and what does it looks like. So as a text file, it looks like this. So it's, yeah, just sorted, all kind of dumped in there. All right. And if we go as a PDF, does it do more formatting? Yes, it does. It does actually good formatting, and that's actually nice to see, because you can definitely use this type of exporting to condense the processing of a document or a research that involved several documents. So that's very, very cool to see. All right, so what are the other things, the adjustments that are included in the update 3.24? Well, we got the zoom level in the reflow view in Word is now automatically saved. The sync button to do is now toggled on by default. Adjusted the maximum values for the non-contact writing feature. Optimized refreshing mode to reduce after images. Improved refreshing technique to minimize ghosting when using the lasso tool. Enhanced real-time display effect of handwriting. Supports rotating smart straight lines using the lasso tool. Ooh, and then I can rotate, but weren't we able to do that before? Enhanced reformatting display when exporting notes to docx and text. Improved the indentation display for converted text for real-time recognition notes. Reduce the storage space occupied by new handwritten content. Optimize the display effect for existing links that have been re-edited. Added a button for quickly switching to the handwriting keyboard. It now remembers the last selected search value, battery calibration guide, brute force protection for screen lock password and file password. And then we have these fixes, which you can check out on their release page or pause it and read through here. Well, there you go. So Supernote update 3.24. For me, it came completely out of the left field, because if you just glance over the release notes, it's just like, oh, it's a text box and a digest feature revamp. But boy, oh boy, is it ever so much more than that. I did not expect this at all. Even when you read throughout the whole thing with more detail, it's like, okay, well, there's a little bit more there, but it's all just text box and a digest. It's just when you start using it, the way that it interconnects with everything and how it actually bridges so many gaps that were there before, they are all just kind of erased, and you're able to seamlessly make this network of information and processing and all of that kind of stuff that it all on this little platform device. As I said, I'm very surprised at how well this actually turned out to be. Let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are. Are you a Supernote user and are you using this, and what is your experience and impression of it so far? If you're a Books, Kindle, Remarkable, AI Note or something like that kind of user, how does this type of functionality look to you when you see it used in a spontaneous manner as I try to describe it and use it in real time here in this video today? Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and see you in the next video. Bye!